This is going to be a pretty exciting one. My entire life I've lived very close to Lake Michigan, but it's probably been about 25 years since I've been out here going after salmon. So I'm excited for this one. And we got Korey Sprengel with us, but we also got Russ, the Salmon Whisperer. Russell Gahagan, he's got a great shop right in Sheboygan here, knows everything there is to know about this lake, catching these salmon. And we're in a 20-foot boat. We're in my ZV20. And one of the things that a lot of people think is you need a huge boat to come out here. Obviously, when it gets rough, you're gonna want one, but we're gonna show you the setup that we'll use in a smaller boat with decent conditions out on Lake Michigan to catch a bunch of salmon. So follow us, and we're gonna show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
And I tell you what, the monsters are in here. You know, this is a popular fishing area with all these lakes around here.
The next bite. The next bite.
Lake Michigan is the third largest of the 5 Great Lakes based on surface area, and its deep, clear waters present a perfect habitat for king salmon and many different types of trout.
What's the best way to tell the difference between like a king and a...
The nickname for steelhead or rainbow trout is square tail. You can see how his tail's squared off. That's one of the easiest ways. Also, the steelhead have white gums.
Oh, okay.
They don't have any coloring to their mouth or gums at all. Their mouths are a lot softer. They don't have the teeth that the king salmon do.
All right.
As part of a multi-billion-dollar sport fishing industry centered mostly around Lakes Michigan and Huron, king salmon are raised in hatcheries to be released into the lake for anglers to catch and keep for a license fee.
King salmon, which is one of the premier fish out here on Lake Michigan, has sort of a unique life cycle in comparison to a lot of fish we target here in the Midwest. They only live to be 4 years old. They get put in the lake as what we call a fingerling, which is about the size of a human's finger, and within 4 years they can be as big as 25, 30 plus pounds. So they have a pretty rapid life cycle. They can grow anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds in one particular year. They're eating machines. In their 4th year, they head to the river where they were planted, and they run up the river. They attempt to spawn, which in most cases here on Lake Michigan is not productive, and then they'll end up dying.
When Chase, Korey, or Russ refer to king salmon, these are in fact Chinook salmon, the largest species of the Pacific salmon family. Chinook are given the nickname king because of their unmatched strength and stamina, easily spooling unprepared anglers.
We're tight on him yet?
Yep, he's tight. There you go, buddy.
Steelhead are rainbow trout, but steelhead exhibit anadromous behavior, meaning they are migratory rainbows that live out the majority of their lives in the Great Lakes or oceans as opposed to rivers.
Feeling the burn yet?
A little bit.
A little bit?
I'm excited. We saw that thing at the exact same time.
I see it over here.
Steelhead.
Steelhead?
Yeah, nice one. That's a nice steelhead too.
There we go, yeah! Sweet!
That's a nice one.
Yeah, the left arm's kind of on fire a little bit.
Watch your finger.
Yep.
He didn't do all his fighting in the lake. Now he's going to fight in the boat.
Yep.
There we go.
Nice.
Didn't take you long to get that one in.
No, we saw it at the exact same time too. I'm sitting there, you're here, and we both shoulder bumped each other going for the rod.
Yeah, I really didn't hear the drag go, but I just seen that board skipping back.
I mean, I'm a little older than you, but I obviously am still a little quicker than you.
I'll be honest, you didn't beat me to that one.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. tracker boats, fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, your adventure starts here. Berkeley, catch more fish. And Power Pole, total boat control. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Precision Trolling Data, the authority for crankbait diving depth information.
Here in the state of Wisconsin, we're allowed 3 lines in angler, so we're running 9 rods here today. The first setup we're going to talk about here is the downrigger setup. Now this downrigger is generally going to be our deepest lines. They're straight below the boat. Below this cable has a 15-pound ball, so I mean we can get straight down very easily with the downrigger setup. Now the next rods moving forward are your dipsy divers. And not only does it pull your flasher fly deeper, but it also will pull it away from the side of the boat. A lot of times you'll run even 2 dipsy divers on each side with different settings on the dipsies. As we're moving forward, now we're talking about our board rods. So we have our planer boards, set way to the side of the boat, but we have different styles of lines on our planer boards. This particular one is a 300 copper, a 300 weighted steel. That 300 feet is going to get that bait a lot deeper. As we move towards the outside of our boards, we have a 200 on this side and all the way to a 150 copper. Lead core is another option. On the other side of the boat, 10 color lead core, 7 colors we've been playing with a little bit. Just different various lengths of either copper or lead core allows us to achieve that depth in the water column, but at the same time moving those lines to the side of the boat to cover a lot of water.
A major factor in the Great Lakes being able to support the stocking of Chinook, aka king salmon, is the abundance of the alewife as their primary forage source.
We're all right.
I think we're all right.
You didn't run over very much.
Chase, grab that
So
one.
as long as the alewife population is healthy, the kings thrive during their short life cycle.
You on there?
Yep.
And at present, the bait is so thick that professional anglers Chase Parsons, Korey Sprengel, and Great Lakes salmon expert Russell Gahagan are actually having to adapt their trolling approach to compensate.
I'll just keep this coming in real slow.
Yeah, this one's pretty wild. You just kind of work that
keep
one
it
slow.
out of the way, yeah.
Yep, perfect.
To keep their lures as visible as possible.
Like we talked about this morning, we marked a bunch of bait on the inside and a lot of fish there, but I think there's just too much feed for the fish. You can't compete with that natural forage bait. So once we got outside the bait, we started getting bites. Korey, when you get the diver to the rod tip, you're gonna have to set the rod down, and I'll have to hand over hand it. You'll have to net the fish.
Then I'll net it, all right.
Yep. Come on, getting close. All right, I'll get a hold of that diver.
I'm already sweating.
Bring it to me.
Got it?
Yep, got it.
Keeps going sideways. I'm gonna just hold this thing low here.
Yeah, you just kind of keep him over there.
Yep.
I got the leader. Yeah, you'll have to get way back there. There you go.
All right, I'm ready. Oh, that's a nice fish. Yep.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Get him!
Get him in here on the bottom of the boat. Look at that thing. Let's just get this one out of the net when the chase is in.
How close are you, Chase?
I got 70 right now, Korey. It's bulldogging me. I'm sweating.
Here, I got the other net, Russ.
Okay.
Yeah, just bring me that leader nice and easy, Chase.
Yep.
Once I get the diver in my hands, then we can net this fish. Work them in slow. I got it.
All right.
Right now. Got him! All right! Nice fish! Awesome! Dude, that is a nice one. Just pile drive both those dipsies.
Tired or what?
Both those dipsies. Sprengel ran one way, you ran the other, and 2 fish on. Let's get this one out of the net. Another nice lake trout. All right, we're gonna try and get this one unhooked here.
Yeah.
I think we might be able to try and release this one.
Yeah.
Nice lake trout. Yeah, 10, 12 pound trout. Yeah, absolutely beautiful fish.
All right.
Let's see if we can put this one back. Revive him a little bit here. Take a minute, he'll go down. Let's take a look at that king.
Yeah.
Here, gotta grab that net.
Yeah, let's get this thing out of here. That's a nice one, dude.
That's a good one.
Man.
What a fish. That's what we're out here looking for.
How big do you think that is, Russ?
It's close to 20.
Is it?
Yeah, that's an adult king salmon. That's one of the ones that are going to run up the river this year and spawn.
How much weight do you think this thing will gain on you this summer?
Probably another 5 pounds. I
Think
would
so?
say by the
That's
fall it'll be a 25-pound fish.
That's
and
crazy.
what a fight! I mean, that fish hit, peeled out a little bit of line, and then came directly at the boat with its back sticking out of the water.
Well, what I was surprised about, just because I don't know anything about these, is how quick it was on the surface. We saw it back there, and we're like, gee, that's a big one.
Yeah, so this fish was 75 feet down when he hit.
Yeah.
And within 30 seconds, it was on the surface.
Yeah, not even 30 probably.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Awesome fish.
Total Control, presented by Power Pole. 20 years of trust evolved from Total Boat Control.
Power poles were initially designed as a shallow water anchor. They were used by the bass guys down shallow, get up shallow, be able to control their boat and pitch in shallow without having to worry about running their trolling motor. We as walleye fishermen, it's pretty well documented. Most of the time when we're using that power pole, we use it in conjunction with the paddle. And the paddle lets us do things like control surge as we're out trolling in big waves, or if we're drifting down a piece of structure, we can control the speed that we're drifting. But I also use it as a shallow water anchor. Now I run a 10-foot blade, so what that means is that I can get up in about, I would say 7, maybe 8 foot if it's calm, feet of water, and this thing will effectively anchor this boat, pin it into a spot. First of all, what drives it down, what unscissors it and drives it into the bottom, is a really strong hydraulic system. So instead of just touching the bottom, many times it'll push into the sand or the gravel, especially into the muck. So again, if I'm in 7, 8 feet of water and I'm fishing shallow, that thing is going to hold me right where I want to be so I can precisely cast to the same spot again and again. Now the other places that it is kind of convenient is if you get around your boat landings and you're bringing in your boat, instead of having to tie the whole boat to the dock, you can just swing down that power pole and it'll actually hold that back of the boat in position. If you're just going up into shore, you want to hop out for a little while, you can nose up to shore, drop down your power pole, and it'll stop that back end from swinging around and also running into the shore. So again, designed as a shallow water anchor, we use it a lot with the paddle to control drifts and control surge and things like that, but it's just a real effective tool on your walleye boat.
With the Great Lakes clearing up year after year, we're finding ourselves having a lot more success on planer boards. This is a standard offshore OR12 planer board, used a lot for walleye fishing. It's also used out here on Lake Michigan for salmon and trout fishing. But a few years ago, Offshore came out with a new board called the SST Pro Mag planer board. And this board was really designed for Great Lakes salmon and trout fishing. You can see with the size profile here, it's a much bigger board, can handle a lot more weight. So if you're out here trying to troll copper, those heavier lead cores, the round weights, 6, 8, 10, 12 ounce weights, this board is set up exactly that way to be able to handle that heavy weight, but still pull far enough to the side that we can really spread out our gear. What I like to do with my planer boards is use this release here by Offshore called the Sam's Pro. And what we do with the Sam's Pro release is that we wrap the line around it and close it up, and it has a tension screw on the side. And by using this type of release, we're able to release the front part of the board, and then all that hangs on the line is this Offshore OR16 release on the back. What that does is it allows us to fight the fish and not really the planer board. If we left the board engaged in this size large board, there'd be a lot of pull and pressure there, and it would be difficult to reel a big 20-pound king salmon in with that much pull and pressure on top of the fish. So by being able to release the front part of the board lays nice and flat, basically a non-factor in the whole situation.
The appeal behind king salmon on the Great Lakes isn't just the size of the fish itself, it's also very much in the size of the fight.
We're really seeing what Lake Michigan has to offer. We're getting a nice mix of fish, king salmon, rainbow trout, lake trout. Once winter went away about a week ago or so, now we're starting to see what summer can bring.
These behemoths don't always pull away either. They also come speeding in straight at the boat like some kind of subsurface guided missile.
You ready, Chase? He's coming hot.
I'm ready.
Because they are nearer to the surface of the water and for longer than you'd like, it is very important to get the net out as far as possible, to net them as soon as possible, because the chances of the hook getting thrown becomes increasingly higher as they near the boat.
Get him, Chase! Yeah! All right,
Go, boys!
Here we go.
Got him, Russ?
Yep, got him. Streamer
That's a
going
good
here.
one, Sprengel.
Streamer going here.
Double.
This is on that rod I told you it's going to change. You said wait 5 minutes.
That's what I said.
Yep,
See?
you're right.
I know what I'm doing with these things.
Yeah, you're usually right. Korey, He said you were never right.
I mean, that thing just came at us like a torpedo. It's so crazy. Oh, that's a good one, man.
That is a nice one.
Another king.
He was freaking flying at the boat.
Yeah, I'm like, you need to hurry up because, I mean, these things, they will pass the boat.
Two at a time today. Two at a time.
All right, let's get this one ready.
Awesome.
Here you go, Chase.
Oh, you want me to take it?
Yeah.
All right, okay. I'm not going to complain.
Little pocket of fish here, 50 to 100 feet down. We're at about 210 feet of water. This particular rod, that was the second rod that went on the double, is down about 50 feet. So, and the fish are probably 60 to 100 down, and they're coming up to hit that bait. Sprengel, he's coming in hot. You ready? You ready, Korey? What do we got? Another king?
looks like
another
it.
king.
It is just amazing to me how hard these things swim at the boat.
Yeah.
You just got to keep them out of those lines.
They're aggressive. They go out, they go in. You got to be ready to reel all the time.
It's awesome.
Oh, he's off.
Oh, yeah.
There.
That's a nice one.
That's another nice one. Another nice Lake Michigan king salmon.
It's so awesome.
You never know what you're going to get out of the fight, if it's going to be one of those ones that just takes out a ton of line and just never turns around, or if he's going to come in hot, like,
Well,
you know.
You feel the fight, and then you don't feel it. It's almost like, is it still there? Yep, it's there.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Precision trolling data. The authority in diving depth info. Strike King. A legacy of domination for 50 years. And Power Pole. Total boat control. Topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
You know, in the last few years, there's been just this huge influx of new colors into the walleye crankbait scene, whether that's companies building the different colors or maybe the custom painters out there building in different colors. When we came out with the jointed flicker shad, we thought, wouldn't it be great if that back little tail, that little flicking back there, was a different color, something that might attract the fish to bite or attack that little piece of the bait. And that's what we came out. It's called a fire tail. One of the baits that has become just a real staple for us is called slick black pearl. Now, when you first look at slick black pearl, it's not one that most anglers would pick. You know, basically a gray bait, a little bit of oil slick pattern in there, and then these two orange dots on the bottom. But I would quite frankly put this right up there with mouse or fire tiger. I thought, God, if it's just those little splashes of color that are making a difference, maybe we should move that into the flicker minnows and flicker shads. So the next thing I did is I went to Renegade Outdoor Innovations, and they do custom painting, and I had them build me a couple of fire tail flicker minnows. Flicker minnows have real good tail wag in the back. What I saw was the fish loved it. They went after that little back section back there. So this fall, what we had Berkeley do was actually come out with a whole series of bait with those fire tails, both in the flicker minnows and in the flicker shads, both deep and shallow. So there's a lot of great walleye colors out there. A great new walleye pattern is the fire tail.
Russ, Chase, and Korey are running big metal flashers to attract attention.
It's always good when you hear a poop, and you know it's a good one.
There you go.
Preceding their various flies down deep in the water column.
You got 75 miles of line out right now, Russ?
Yeah, at a minimum.
During early morning hours and evenings, Russ chooses a glow-style flasher, where during the rest of the day, and especially so with good sunlight, regular bright-colored versions of the same flasher body and pattern.
You want me to dump some Gatorade in your mouth?
Yeah, I might need that. Re-energize me.
Hydrate a little bit?
Yep, board's coming.
He uses 100% fluorocarbon in 50-pound test, and his leaders are 3 times the length of the flasher that he has on. So, for an 8-inch flasher, his fluoro leader would be 24 inches in length, and so on.
This is what we call a tanker.
He's not happy,
No,
is he?
he is not.
I'm ready.
I'll tell you when, Spring. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Yeah! Look at the size of that one! All right! Way to go, Korey! Unbelievable!
You didn't say go for him. I was waiting for you to say it, but I had an opportunity nudity, Russ.
If you practice managing the lines, working together with good company, the Great Lakes can bring some of the biggest and most rewarding trophy sport fishing opportunities to the deck of your boat, even when it's only 20 feet long.
Look at that thing.
Look at the size of that fish. Wow.
He didn't, he took a little bit of line on you for quite a while.
He wore me out. He ran.
And then when he got close to the boat, I was like, I don't know what I was doing.
Kept going back and forth,
yeah, he was like, this side. So I'm just trying to grab lines to make sure it all stayed clean.
Yeah, he was going to clear the whole area out. He needed all of it, no doubt.
It's just fun to hear that drag rip. I mean, when that fish hit the board, whatever, we just heard the drag.
Yeah. You heard the thunk and then it was pretty awesome.
What a trip. Should we get some peanuts out? Honey roasted? Oh, yeah. Here, put your mitt out. Let me fill you up. You need more than that, don't you, Russ?
That's a good start.
He's making a big clip, 28 clicks. It was tied to that when I...
That was good.
It has, now you're going to get whipped with it. What do you think about that? How's that feel?
That thing's been in my truck for 2 years.
Oh, it has? Dropped it right back in his mouth, didn't you?
Drop the hammer.
You are precise.
You want to do it? You almost broke.
That's how you do it.
You almost broke the line, but all right. Case, you want to move the car? That'll be further home.
Yeah, can't cross throwers.
The next bite would like to thank Dumper Dan's Fishing and Lodging. Dumper Dan's riverfront condos are near Dumper Dan's boat docks, just a short walk from area attractions. They include a riverfront deck, outdoor grill, big screen television, fireplace, spacious living room, full kitchen, and Wi-Fi. Multiple units or joining condominiums are available. For reservations, please call 920-377-1147.